Hello and welcome to the program. I am DEJI360. Now, it appears there's no end in sight to the crisis rocking the opposition People's Democratic Party (PDP) as the aggrieved governors demanding the resignation of the party chairman Iyorchia Ayu seem to have withdrawn their support for the party's presidential candidate Atiku Abubakar. The 5 governors involved, Governor Nyesom Wike of Rivers State, Seyi Makinde of Oyo State, Okezie Ekpazu of Abia State, Samuel Otom of Benue State, and Ifeanyi Ugwuanyi of Enugu State, have, as a matter of fact, consistently distanced themselves from the Atiku Abubakar campaign. In what appeared to be a formal flag-off of the campaign against their party's candidate, the governors declared that the efforts now to break their ranks were failing because they are bonded to save Nigeria. The G5, as they call themselves, also resolved to woo more aggrieved PDP members to their fold from the 6 geopolitical zones to give their onslaught a national outlook and to mobilize to resist what they call the divide and rule tactics purportedly now employed by Abubakar to destabilize their state structures. That's the party structures in their state. The group actually even had a meeting with Governor Bala Mohammed of Bauchi State, who is currently having some challenges surrounding his re-election bid in the party. Now, despite all these moves, Governor Wike has continued to reiterate that there is still room for reconciliation and that the presidential candidate, as a matter of fact, has actually welcomed that development. Now, we just wait and see how it all plays out. So what we're seeing at the moment is that these G5 governors are blowing hot and cold at the same time. So what exactly is going on? Let's discuss this further. I have Jide Ojo, who is joining us from Abuja. He's a political affairs analyst. And joining us from Kano is Dr. Bibi Farouk, who is a political expert as well. Gentlemen, thank you very much for coming on the program. Let me start with you, Dr. Farouk. In one breath, these PDP, the aggrieved governors now would appear to be trying to expand their course to get more governors, if possible, or more high-profile members to join them. But in another breath, they are also saying the door is still open for a reconciliation. What's your take on that? How do you see that?
Well, I think it's politics. It's always like that in politics. You don't close all the doors. You try as much as possible to leave some doors open, left for whoever you're contending with to be able to engage. But the reality of the matter is this set of governors, the 5 G5 governors, go into hallucinations and then come back to realities and go back into hallucinations and then return back to realities. Their reality is they belong to the PDP. They have not merged with any party. There is nothing for them to benefit in being members of any party at the moment. None of them can get an elective position. Most likely, they will lose some of the people they have contesting under the PDP if they fight against the PDP in their states. And they, at the same time, have not come back to PDP to accept the reality that there has been primary election and winner has emerged that primary election. And the process of that primary election cannot be challenged. And now they tend to now stay back to argue on the removal of the national chairman based on a statement made by the national chairman. But the truth of the matter is, would you blame Atiku for the statement of the national chairman? The national chairman was virtually a product of this G5 group. They got together to make sure that the entire ESCO and NWC of the party was in their own making while the elections were going to happen. So most of them went on consensus and concessions to them. So now they are not getting what they want. They fall back to saying the national chairman should go. If they want the national chairman should go, I don't think it is Atiku's business. They, in reality, actually are still sore from the defeat of Wike during the primaries. And as things continue to unfold, many of them might begin to lose their relevance because, like it or not, those of them that are not contesting again, that are not incumbents, would not have total control of the party in their states. And like it or not, the PDP will have a chunk. then they could have the chunk, and an opposition party in their states would have a chunk. And no matter what happens, they might not achieve in precise manner what they want of defeating the PDP in their states even.
Let me just quickly come in there. What do you make of their seeming effort now, so to speak, to try to get more members to join their fold? For instance, they are reaching out now to the Bauchi state governor. You're quite right. The Bauchi state governor was with them at some point, but he's no longer with them, at least openly. But now they are trying to reach out to him to get the Bauchi state governor to join their fold. And obviously, it appears they are making efforts as well to get some other high-profile members of the party to join them. And I'm wondering, they are also saying they are open to reconciliation at the same time. So if they are making this effort to get more members to join their fold, what do you think that portends for the PDP? And do you think they can succeed?
Well, it is possible that they could get, and it is in their interest that at least they get a governor from the upper north or Atiku's area who would be in their support. Because if they don't do that, it still remains the weaker factor of not accepting an Atiku defeat. And not every politician would go with that. I assure you that people like Bode George support them, but will not go to the extent that they want to go. People who believe it is time for the South, like UK is arguing, not the Southeast as he's arguing, but the South, would want to go with them, but they will not want to go to the extent they are going. But even the extent they are going could still be harmful for the PDP. They could still make the PDP lose elections, and it would be a tragedy that PDP that brought in zoning in order to be able to continue to win elections forever is having zoning make it lose elections forever. Because in 2015, when Atiku and the rest moved a group of governors out of the PDP, it was because of the zoning issue. Today, it is also the argument of zoning. So while a group of the North will always be arguing that it is we have only had 2 years or 3 years out of 23 years, another group will be saying that as far as agreement is concerned, it is our turn, whether you had 1 year or no years at all. So would that be able to be a political platform for anybody to continue to build and win elections? I don't think so. Okay. So I think zoning that was engraved and an agreement is going to put PDP to the graves.
Okay, let me bring in Jide Ojo here. Jide, you look at what is going on. You look at these 5 governors. I mean, it must be pretty difficult. Things must be pretty difficult for the governorship candidates the governorship candidates of the PDP now in those states. I'm just wondering how difficult it would be for them to navigate this crisis, because I mean, they are being brought into a crisis that is probably not their making. Just recently, we saw the governorship candidate of the PDP in Abia State, for instance, hold audience now with the Atiku Abubakar campaign. And then I'm talking about the governorship candidate of Abia State now, pledging support for the presidential ambition of Atiku Abubakar. And then you have his, whether you call him his boss or whatever, the governor, are not in support of Atiku Abubakar. So I'm just wondering how difficult you think this will be for the various candidates now, especially of these 5 states whose governors are completely. Of course, you have one governor who is obviously seeking re-election. That's Governor Seyi Makinde. But then you look at the others; they're actually not coming back.
Yeah, you are very right. But my own reading of the whole thing is, as is popularly believed, politics is a game of interest. There is no permanent friendship or enmity in politics, but interest. And it is the interest of these 5 governors that they are trying to protect. They want to remain relevant after the 2023 elections. And as to your concern about the PDP candidates in those states, again, it's a catch-22 situation. Luckily, we are going to be having national elections before the state elections. So if, peradventure, Atiku Abubakar wins on the February 25, 2023 presidential election, the governors of the governorship candidate of those 5 states will be on a very better footing on March 11, because, as you know, people want to gravitate towards the party at the center. So if Atiku was able to defeat Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu on February 25th, then it will boost the chances of the PDP governors in all the 36 states, actually, not only in the G5 states. So and we still like about 100 days to the next election. So to that extent, a lot can still happen. 24 hours is a lot of time in politics. It's all about what, Deji, my reading of this whole thing is just like, you call a dog a bad name in order to hang it. Oh, Ayu must go. Ayu said he will relinquish position. But these are the same G5 governors that brought Ayu in the first place and cleared every opposition for him, made him a consensus candidate, because they felt if they have Ayu there, the chances of the power being zoned, the presidency being zoned to the south and perhaps southeast will be enhanced. Unfortunately for them, and the other thing that came to mind is that, remember, is Samuel Otom, the governor of Benue State, who happens to be the home state of Iyorchia Ayu,
yes,
that even headed the committee on zoning for PDP after the emergence of Iyorchia Ayu. And it was his committee, it was Samuel Otom's committee, that actually recommended that the game should be thrown open, that there should be no zoning for 2023 election. Had it been that Samuel Otom's committee had insisted power should come to the south, and it is adopted and ratified by the National Working Committee and National Executive Committee of PDP, we will not be in this coup d'etat. So these people, you cannot bring a ant-invested firewood from the farm and then complains that you are being visited by lizards. These people brought this upon themselves because of their own selfish interest, actually. Because what Wike thought was that if Ayu becomes the national chairman, then following the zoning principle of PDP. The likely the presidency will be zoned to the south. If it is zoned to the south, he has the war chest, the resources, enormous financial resources to buy his way through to get the nomination of PDP. And you could see that he and his former boss, Rotimi Amechi, it was like a tug of war between them. Amechi wanted to be the president under APC. Wike wanted to be the president under PDP. And it was at some point looking like Wike had an upper hand until he was defeated in that presidential primary of PDP. Since then, there have been no love lost. But this is also about relevance post-2015, post-2023. They want to be relevant. They want to plant their own stooges in the party structures so that for those, Samuel Otom wants to come to the Senate. Seyi Makinde is seeking re-election. Ikpeazu wanted his anointed candidate to win so that he continued to superintend. And you could also see the effort of Wike by appointing 200,000 aides, or what he calls special assistants, under his stomach infrastructure policy. He also wants to leverage, he wants to maintain a stranglehold on PDP in Rivers State, so that his own anointed candidate also wins. Okay. He becomes a godfather and then will be dictating the pace of politics in Rivers State.
Okay, let's quickly take a short break here. We'll come back to continue this discussion. You stay with us. Don't go away. We'll be right back.
Opinions are free. Facts are sacred. But truth is universal.
How, in practical terms, can we, for instance, de-escalate the tension?
President must see himself as the President of the Federal Republic?
We know where the enemy is. 3 places. The Lake Chad Basin, the border area between Nigeria and Cameroon, and then the Sambisa Forest.
On DEJI360, we give you a complete dose of everything. Opinion, facts, and undiluted truth.
I hardly believe what politicians are saying in this part of the world.
A new Nigeria is possible, a future is possible.
We delve into the issues, dissect it so that you can understand it, use it to take action.
I don't think there's any need for any governor to look for grant for ranching.
DEJI360, dissecting the issues.
Welcome back, and I still have Jide Joe with us, and of course, Dr. Bibi Farouk in Kano. Let me come to you, Dr. Farouk. How bad is it that, or how bad will it be if Atiku goes to the 2023 presidential election without the support of these 5 governors? Do you think he stands any chance to win the election without the support of these governors?
I think the PDP is in a very bad state of going into a federal election right now. Take the wiki factor of 5 governors. The NNPP of Rabiu Konkoso was part of PDP. It moved out much earlier, sensing this kind of commotions would continue because it's like a continuation of what has become PDP politics. And Peter Obi was also part of PDP. He also moved out, sensing this kind of commotion at the very last minute. And you can see that all of them have credible holding of some parts of the polity. In the north at the moment, you can only contest with the NNPP. And in the southeast, you can only contest with Labour Party. You know, then there's this internal wiki issue that they have not left for another party. They have not joined either the APC or someone. So you see that PDP in an opposition level is facing a lot of dissolution, kind of like it is being disintegrated to some extent. It got disintegrated by 5 governors and Atiku Abubakar in 2015 while it was in power and ended up losing power. So if you look at the circumstances, the only positive thing for them is the performance of the APC. That is nothing to hold on to, nothing to talk about. Had the APC been done well, then you would not even be thinking of PDP coming anywhere near elections. So the failure of APC has created relevance for NNPP, relevance for Labour Party, and at the same time, some relevance for what remains of the Atiku group in the PDP. So this is, I think, the proper scenario of how we are going to go into 2023 elections. The parties are going to have large chunks of certain areas. We might not probably have a very strong dominant one party that people argue, and I do agree that we might likely end up with a runoff, because I do not see any of the 4 parties having control of 24 states, even 25% of 24 states at the moment. So the PDP should really look in. Now, getting these 5 governors back would be a plus, but it is not also going to be as good and united as if they had never objected or had never gone out. Because in politics, this effort still remained recorded. And they know it, that even after elections, if PDP happens to win election, it will take note of the actions of Wike and these 5 governors in the process of winning that election. If PDP loses, it will blame it squarely on Wike and the governors. And Wike and the governors might feel elated for a period of time that they had succeeded in what they want, but it is kamikaze politics they are playing, because they are using themselves to hit PDP and do self-destruct for all of them. And that because even if they end up getting their governors as they think, governors do not stay with their principles for more than 3 months. The average period is about 3 months period, and everybody finds its way. The greatest enemies they might have are these people they are fighting for now. You know, so I think it's a very dicey situation. But the general politics of no one party really being dominant is what should excite all of us. And I think it's showing itself very clearly.
All right, Gideojo, do you get this sense that Atiku should do everything he can to ensure he gets these 5 governors back to his fold? I mean, so that he can get their support going into the 2023 elections. And do you think that is even possible at this point?
Well, Atiku has done all he could. Remember, there was a Fintiri committee, Amadu Fintiri committee that has been liaising, meeting with the Wike group. But you see, you need to be very careful the commitments and pledges you are making to a person like Wike and his team, because these people are insatiable. You concede one thing to them, they demand for more. And like Dr. Bibi Farouk said, at the best of time, PDP is not healthy going into 2023 election. How do I mean? They've not been able to poach governors to join them. Today, even if we cede the victory of PDP in Osun to him, I mean, if we take the addition of Ademola Adeleke as the governor of Osun, which will be inaugurated on the 27th of this month, APC will still be in control of 21 states. And the governors, as we know, provide the logistics for election, both financial and otherwise. So if APC governors are willing and ready to work for Jagaban and put the interest of APC first beyond ethnicity, religion, and region, APC, as bad as they have performed in governance, may still retain the seat of the presidency in 2023. Now, look how many governors does PDP have? That 5 is already kicking. So you have barely 11 or thereabout, because out of 36, one is controlling 21. Yes, 21. Another is controlling one state, that is 22. So you have 14 governors. Out of these 14, 5 of them are not with you. So you are left with is it 7 or 8 now to go into the election with. So what magic do you want to perform that will make you to be victorious on the first ballot? So whether the all 14 PDP and don't mark you, Wike's camp or Seyi Makinde's camp and that of Ademola Adeleke in Osun are not together. Recall that during the grand finale of the PDP primary in Osun, ahead of that governorship election, Seyi Makinde was not there, Wike was not there. Only Ayu and a handful of other governors outside of the region were there. So it shows that there is even infighting in the Southwest PDP. And today, if Seyi Makinde and Ademola Adeleke, who are now going to be PDP governor in the Southwest, do not see eye to eye, how do they want to work for the party? Well, so there's a lot of issues to deal with in terms of the prognosis for 2023. I wrote in my column in Punch a couple of days ago that the 2023 election might not most likely be won on the first ballot. And my own projection is that NNPP will come forth, and because there will be, if there is a runoff, then every one of them will want to woo the NNPP to get its support base, which will likely be in the north.
But another thing, you still cannot rule out the possibility of even the NNPP, forming an alliance now before the election. So we just have to wait.
It's a possibility.
Because it's not impossible. It's not impossible. Because listening to the presidential candidate of the NNPP you tend to get the impression that at some point, probably before the election, we might see something dramatic. But we just have to wait and see what happens and how it plays out. But let me just say thank you very much, gentlemen, for coming on the program. Dr. Bibi Farouk, thank you very much for your time, and thank you for making it as always. And Jide Ojo, I mean, you've always been on this program. Thank you so very much for your time. Thank you so very much. Well, we'll take a short break now, and when we come back, we'll be discussing environment issues. We'll be looking at the COP27 going on in the Egyptian city of Sharm el-Sheikh. Stay with us, don't go away.
Opinions are free, facts are sacred, but truth is universal.
How, in practical terms, can we, for instance, de-escalate the tension?
President must see himself as the President of the Federal Republic.
We know where the enemy is. 3 places. The Lake Chad Basin, the border area between Nigeria and Cameroon, and then the Sambisa Forest.
On DEJI360, we give you a complete dose of everything. Opinion, facts, and undiluted truth.
I hardly believe what politicians say in this part of the world.
A new Nigeria is possible, a future is possible.
We delve into the issues, dissect it so that you can understand it, and use it to take action.
I don't think there's any need for any governor to look for grant for ranching.
DEJI360, dissecting the issues.